If you are tuned into the replay, comment below so I can come back and engage with you and tell you thank you for tuning in. I hope that this video is finding you well as we prepare for this holiday weekend. I wanted to come on with a quick session today for you, for those of you that are going to be thinking about your businesses over the weekend or not, just to give you some things to really mull over for the next week. So for the last 2 weeks, we've been talking a lot on my platforms about scaling your online business. What does that require? What does it look like? What are your options? What are some of the roadblocks? And I wanted to come on today to continue that conversation and talk about what happens when you're in a position to scale, but you're not actually happy with your business, right? And we talked yesterday about not being satisfied or not being happy does not always have to do with not making any money or not having sales. It doesn't have to always be struggle city for there to need to be a change or a shift of anything like that. So today, briefly, I want to chat with you about how to scale a business you actually love, a business you can enjoy, how to set the reset button without necessarily needing to start from scratch over and over again. So if that is something you're interested in, stay tuned. I won't take up a ton of your time today. And as we are going through, if you hear something you resonate with, all I ask in return is that you share this video out. You hit the share button, you tag a friend. You do all of the things. If you are new here, my name is Kashaira. I am an international board certified success coach. My specialty is business coaching. I work with coaches across all industries and niches on not only getting their coaching practice started, from creating their high-end signature offer to actually selling it online, to also helping coaches expand their coaching practice in a way that is in alignment and out of the box of traditional industry norms. So, again, today I want to talk to you about how to hit the reset button and to actually scale a business you can love. So one of the first steps in that process is it's going to feel like going back to the drawing board. I promise you it's not, but it is going back to that ideal client. And in this case, we're not necessarily going back to doing market research. Thank you so much, Boss Lady, for sharing. This is not necessarily doing market research, though my clients have told me that I teach market research very different than other people, and I'm going to take that compliment. This is about you actually examining your current population of clients. And this is where you have to say, yes, I am seeing sales. Yes, I am making money. I am either getting really close to my revenue goals or I'm crushing my goals. But how closely does your current group of clients actually match the ideal client avatar you set in the beginning? Because what happens is we have this dream avatar, and then we'll take people who kind of meet it. They maybe only check one or two boxes, but we know that we can help them. That was one of the things that I used to do a lot with private coaching. As long as I felt confident that I could help you, I had the right expertise, I would take you on. The problem with that is that led to a lot of customization of my programs to the point where it wasn't scalable. If you have to drastically change up what you're teaching, what you're coaching on in the delivery method, it is no longer a scalable offer. And that's a path you can choose, because we talked about last week here on live how scaling doesn't necessarily need to be everybody's choice. You can choose to stay where you are and be happy with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you do want to scale, you need a coaching program that is scalable. So starting with private coaching is where you go to test and vet your frameworks, but it's really hard to validate that if we're always customizing and we're always curating. So we have to really take a look at our current set of clients and say, how closely do they meet that, right? And if they don't meet it all the way, what is the differences? What's the difference between who I have now and who I want to attract? Because that will then impact how we choose to move forward with our messaging and our marketing and our sales tactics in the future, right? And also thinking about what are the things that you've learned about your current clients that make so much sense for who you want to serve that you didn't previously know. So this looks like you actually updating your your ideal client profile information. Why does this matter when you're actively making money, right? Like why am I telling you this? If you decide to bring on a team, which if you are scaling, you will, specifically marketing folks, sales folks, things like that, they're going to need that information from you. Simply just having a discussion and telling them what you know isn't enough. They're literally one of the first things my marketing coordinators asked for was my ideal client profile, what I know about my audience, right? And so you need to have these things mapped out. But if you mapped it out 4 years ago, I'm willing to bet that there are some updates and some changes. So we want to ensure that we're updating that with getting that as close to what we actually want as possible. If you actually review this and realize that you're not attracting your ideal client, you're attracting folks that you can help and who can pay, but it's really outside of what you actually want to do, then we have to evaluate, well, what is stopping us from attracting our true ideal client? What is happening with our messaging and our marketing, how we're showing up, that's bringing in this crop of clients, right? The next step in that process is really thinking about who within this group are my champions, right? Who are the folks who they meet the profile as close as possible and they're really getting strong results, because we want to model our marketing and our messaging and even how we show up in our programs after that. Sometimes I meet coaches who get really curriculum happy and curriculum friendly because they're trying to serve that lower level of client who didn't really meet your client profile to begin with. So they're coming in missing a lot of things, and now you take that responsibility on yourself to fill those gaps when those gaps were outside of the promise of your program. And that can cause you to have a lot of busy work and burn you out drastically. So you want to evaluate who's that high level, that top 20% of clientele. What are the similarities between them, and use that to update your profile. You have to also say, who were the clients I didn't enjoy working with? Yes, you can totally love what you do and be a great coach, but there is a such thing as not liking your clients, right? And if you obviously have high integrity, you're going to show up, you're going to serve them, or you might fire them, either way. But you also want to think about the folks that you did not enjoy working with and those who did not see the results you would have liked, those who did not fully commit, and figure out what the commonalities were between them as well, so that you can learn how to spot those red flags in the application process and the sales process, or however you choose to enroll your clients, right? And you also may want to think about, do I need to currently fire any clients? Because if we're getting ready to scale, I actually had a client who had the situation. She's had a retainer client for years who, it was time for this person to go. This was a service she wasn't even offering anymore, but the relationship, right? And there is a way to navigate firing clients without it having to be this hostile situation that we think it is. That's one of the guides that I provide my clients with, of how to manage and deal with negative clients or clients that you need to fire. But that is something that you as a coach can do, right? And we're not going to go into the specifics of like refunds and all of that stuff, but just know that is definitely an option for you as you prepare to scale your business, right? So once we've really figured out who are we trying to market to, who are we trying to attract, who are our champion clients, we can now take advantage of rebranding, which is the next step in the process of actually scaling a business that we love. Rebranding is completely natural and normal. It's a part of the evolution. But rebranding is not just about the visual pieces, because let's be honest, you can outsource that. You can hire a brand strategist to come in and, you talk to them about your business and your brand. They tell you the recommended colors, they do the site, and like all of that stuff is great. It's a price tag and you're good to go, right? But what we as the coaches are responsible for is really thinking about, how are we rebranding our offers? How are we repositioning what we're selling? Do we need to eliminate anything, right? Do we need to create new things? And ideally, when you are scaling, you are going to eliminate some things and create some new things, right? Which also means you need to have an increase in pricing. That's just natural and normal, because as you continue to coach, you should continue to see increased results from your clients, things that are pushing you, like your clients, like through the roof, or your mind is like blown and you're like, oh my gosh. That means an increase in pricing, right? So you have to do a couple of things with this. One, evaluate your offers to figure out, do I need to revamp them in any way or shape or form, and what pricing is required to now meet this level of delivery. The other piece is, what am I going to do with my current clients, right? Because if you have current clients who are in 6-month, 12-month contracts of services that you no longer want to offer, you do want to let them know that. And I'm not saying you're canceling your contracts, but I am saying if they've been constantly re-enrolling, you need to have a conversation and let them know what the new offers will be. I went through this exact process in 2020 when I finally got rid of private coaching and went all in on group coaching. It was a conversation around, hey, when we're done in December, we're done in December unless you like to come over to this program. So making sure that you're really spending the time to think about your communication strategy with that. When you have a suite of clients, you can't just pop out on Instagram and say, new me, new brand, new business, new pricing, X, Y, and Z, right? And also thinking about how with your current clients, if they do want to come over into your new offers, you have a couple of options, right? You can offer them, I don't like to say discounts, but you can grandfather clause them in if you want to maintain current pricing, or you can simply set the expectation that this is going to be a higher level experience that comes with higher level pricing and just simply give them the option. We're not pressuring people. We're not being pushy. We're just simply giving the option. And sometimes we underestimate what our clients will be willing to do. We'll assume that because we always had this pricing and this delivery that they're automatically going to leave us. And that may not be the case. So that would challenge you to just shift your mindset when it comes to that, so that you don't miss out on having those continued clients work with you. But the other piece here is thinking about how as you scale and you begin to increase your pricing and your level of delivery, you have to think about how are you updating your programs, right? How are you increasing the value of them in terms of a content standpoint, a coaching standpoint, and a support standpoint. Sometimes as we scale, we instantly just think about super passive courses, which is totally an option, but there are so many more to that, right? There's the opportunity for us to create high-end group programs, high-end mastermind programs, membership programs, and other things along the way. So just thinking about how you can elevate those experiences. It's not simply just taking what you've been coaching on in a one-on-one setting and now just putting everybody in a group and having glorified webinars every week or glorified Q&As every week, but it's thinking about how to continue to have an elevated experience. I know from the outside looking in the high ticket world, you can assume that it's the same stuff. It's just a higher price tag, but true coaches with integrity know that it's not just simply a higher price tag and the same stuff. It's a higher level of service and a higher level of delivery. Our group programs look nothing like what our private programs looks like in a very positive way. So having that same approach, right? And then, of course, with the next step in the process of really scaling up in a way that creates a business you love is also on your end, freshening up your own knowledge. And we talked about this earlier in the week as well. When you're scaling, you're stepping into new unknown territory, right? You are doing a lot of things for the first time, which could include hiring, firing, new tech, new systems, new ways of delivering content. And so in that instance, don't try to go at it alone. And if you have made it to this point by yourself, that's fabulous and that's great, but don't make this harder than it needs to be. Really thinking about what courses or classes can you take to make you even more qualified in what you do and to make you a better CEO. But then do you even need a higher level coach to commit that, a higher level coaching program to commit to level up your own game? And I've mentioned before, for me, having a coach is a non-negotiable. It's not that I don't know what I'm doing. It's that I don't want to be in a situation where a problem comes up and I'm by myself. I want to have somebody I can reach out to with a call, with a text, and say, hey, I am doing something I've never done before, and you've been in my shoes. I saw someone the other day say, oh, coaches shouldn't have coaches. And I just think that that's bullshit. I just think that, one, we're not practicing what we preach. But two, I think that we have to understand that we're not hiring coaches because we just don't know what to say and what to do. We're hiring them because we are also entrepreneurs in addition to being a coach. Those two things are not the same thing. As a coach, you're responsible for helping your clients with their transformation. That is very different than being the business owner who is responsible for branding, marketing, sales, customer service, product creation. Like, that's a whole different ball game. And many of us are natural coaches anyway, naturally gifted at helping people through things. But that doesn't mean that you're a great marketer. It doesn't mean that you're a great seller. It doesn't mean that you're great at video content. And so needing support with that is not a bad thing. It is nothing to be embarrassed about. Okay, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. Now, am I going to say that there aren't people out here who buy programs just to repurpose them, that's definitely a thing. But I also think that, if we take a little bit more time to do research on who we're hiring and have a little bit more discernment, ideally, reading through those reviews, we can bypass those folks to get to the people who are really here to serve us and help us. And if you are in a position where you are looking for that support, I do want to remind you that the Coaches League is accepting new clients at thecoachesleague.co, which is linked in my bio. The last step in this process is making your offers exciting again. So I mentioned that yesterday, that some people want a complete laptop lifestyle and a completely passive income business, which is totally a thing. That's not my thing, but that's totally a thing. But some of us actually enjoy coaching. It doesn't mean that we want to be on the phone all day or every day, but we do enjoy coaching, and we can coach a couple times a month or a couple times a week. And so if that's you, where you actually get fulfillment from engaging with your clients and you want to continue to do that, I encourage you to make your programs exciting, right? When you're rebuilding and rebranding them, one, they don't have to be one-on-one. If you enjoy working with clients, you can pivot to group programs, mastermind programs, VIP day experiences, retreats and events, high-level memberships, right? Like you can high-end in-person memberships. There's so many different options you can go with this beyond the stereotypical Q&A group program or a completely passive course with a Facebook group. Like, there are other ways to still scale up, provide really great value, but then also get fulfillment in what you do. And what route you take really depends on you, your business model, your interests, things like that. These are the things that I work with my clients on in the Coaches League, and figuring out how we want to scale and what's most in alignment for you versus what is everybody else in the space doing. And so really thinking about, how do you want to show up and serve, right? I personally love in-person events. It's not my complete business model, but it's something that I miss doing. And so as part of the Coaches League, we do have 2 retreats as part of that experience. One, because I love helping my clients bond with each other, but then 2, it's another way to really help my clients drive results. I've seen the power of retreats and conferences and things like that from when I was previously hosting them. So that's an example of how you can bring that into your business model. It's actually not that common for group programs to have in-person aspects to them, but that's something that you can add to your business if it's really going to help your clients and bring you personal joy. So I would just challenge you to think about, what are some of the elements that you'd like to see in your business model that either previously didn't work, previously didn't make sense, or you were just told it was a little too much. I would go ahead and consider bringing those back, and even evaluating your client experience, right? Not just the calls, but even in between. How are you measuring client progress? How are you engaging with them? How are you showing them that you're interested and you care? Those are fun things that you can work on as a coach who's scaling, to still be involved in your business, but then also elevate it for the clients that are coming in. Because also thinking about how, for many of our clients, hiring a coach is a very scary experience. It's very intimidating. So all of the different elements we can add that enhance the client experience very much help with them feeling comfortable with us, and it also brings us fulfillment as the coach. So with that being said, I want to go ahead and wrap up. If you just came in, we talked about how to scale a business that you actually enjoy, that you love. So we talked about revisiting your client profile, taking advantage of rebranding, freshening up your knowledge, and of course, making your programs really strong and really, really exciting. If you have any questions, you are welcome to DM me. Again, applications for the Coaches League is now open. You can click the link in my bio to apply. And with that, have an amazing holiday weekend, and I'll talk to you all in the next session. Bye, everyone.